Namaskar. Welcome to Vision of Asia, Voice of Community. You're watching us on ITV Gold and we appreciate your being a part of ITV Gold's extended family this Sunday. Here are the highlights of today's Vision of Asia. In this edition, we will have a story from Nassau County in support of India. In this week with Padma Shri Dr. Sudhir Parikh. Also, we analyze India's fight against COVID. Edison Mayoral candidate Sam Joshi talks to us in today's Vision of Asia, and Dr. Anupama Gotimukula, President-elect AAPI, tells us India has surpassed 25 million coronavirus cases. And we will have a short report on birth anniversary of Acharya Shankar. All this coming up right after these short messages. Stay with us. There are various initiatives that are being undertaken by the committed Indian American community members, and Nassau County officials as well as political representatives joined hands with community leaders and addressed a press conference at Guru Nanak Darbar, Hicksville. Everyone was passionate about helping the cause, strengthening India in overcoming fight against COVID-19. Here are some highlights from that press conference moderated by Bobby Kumar.
This is about helping others, and I want to appreciate and thank Jennifer and merchants and her husband who initially agreed to do this, and because they care. So it is about serving the people. It's not about what I'm getting out of it. It is more important the people who care just like me.
We gathered here today at the Sikh temple Guru Nanak Darbar in Hicksville to drum up support for India, which is passing through an unprecedented crisis because of the COVID-19. We know very well how people have been losing lives, and it's a very tragic situation there. And today, Nassau County legislators, community leaders, religious organizations, the media, we all got together, and it was done under the aegis of Friends of Health, an organization which is headed by Bobby Kaloti here.
Nassau is extremely proud of our South Asian community. It is a community that's compassionate, a strong community, but most of all, it's blessed with strong, great leaders in all fields of occupations, from government to medicine to business, and many of those leaders are here today. So we, along as governmental officials, along with our legislators and all the leaders here today, pledge our commitment to do what we can to gather the resources that are needed for in India, PPE, oxygen for the medical know-how. We must get this done. We must make a difference, and together I know that we can help our brothers and sisters in India and relieve them of this terrible tragedy. So God bless all of you, and thank you for.
We pray for all of them, but the Indian community was so wonderful to all of us here. When we needed help, when we needed PPE, when we needed all the money that we had to do to make sure we addressed issues here while we were going through the height of the pandemic here in the United States and certainly here in Nassau County.
This is an opportunity for us to pay it forward. As the United States is emerging from our battle with COVID, we hopefully for the last time, it's an opportunity for us to actually reach out a helping hand to those in need in India and South Asia. And it's wonderful that we're marshaling the resources. I want to thank you, Bobby. I want to thank you for your leadership. And it's an opportunity for us to help. We've been saying all along during the course of this pandemic that we're in this together, and this is an opportunity for us again to demonstrate that to our friends in India and Southeast Asia. So thank you.
What a wonderful outpouring today in both the public sector, and you have our legislators, our majority legislator leader, Rich Nicolello, you have the private sector, you have Kiwanis clubs, Rotary clubs, religious leaders coming together for one cause. And that is the cause to help the South Asian community. We are in a devastating situation. We need to send our prayers. I appeal to each and every one of you, please, whatever you can do, this is our opportunity, as Legislator Rhodes said, is to give forward. So may God bless everyone and may God bless India.
The need for the hour is great. And I think everybody has come together to help India in this crisis. The most important thing, I'm glad that all the politicians are here. When we had the crisis, Governor Kuma was able to get mechanical ventilators. A lot of them are lying around in Albany, and I would like you people to make an appeal to the governor to release those ventilators for India. There'll be a big help because there's a big requirement for ventilators. And to all my friends here, no contribution is small. Please contribute generously so they can get together and overcome this crisis. Thank you.
We request our President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris and all the elected officials, please help India during this difficult time and save the largest democracy on this earth. Thank you very much.
Straight message to everybody, say please come out and help something. Money is worth, money can buy everything. So if you pay something, whatever it is, as Bobby says, millions of dollars, but we can collect whatever it can be. So please come forward and write a check, send it to the India, and this is our big help as a humanity. So thank you very much. I'm appealing again one more time. Please come forward and help. Just simple help, help and help. Thank you.
So all Sikh community, even Barbara told before that in India, Sikh Gurdwaras, Sikh people are helping all those people with the oxygen, with the food. And from here in Queens and Long Island, our community member, they have arranged some oxygen concentrator and they are sending to India. So at this point, we need help of everybody. All the officials are here. So India need oxygen, ventilator, and all the equipment that is needed. And this is a request. And I want to thank Bobby Kumarji for arranging this event. Thank you very much.
Last year, when America was going through Kovid crisis, India was the first country to come and help. Now the time has come to help us. I would also urge Governor Cuomo that you have lot of stuff lying in your warehouse, try to share it with them. Each dollar is very important. Each oxygen, each generator saves life.
We need every dollar that anybody can send to India for us to mobilize help from here. There are many doctors, many associations ready, but we need the money, so please help.
The saga of this corona is not finished yet, and we have to be still very strong about the safeguards because we don't know when it can back into United States again. So please keep your distancing, keep your masking, and keep your social get-togethers in a minimal. Thank you very much.
There's a lot of suffering going on in India. We have a large office in Chennai. We speak to these people every day, and we know that they're really suffering. They need help. They need oxygen. They need ventilators. They need supplies. We're sending over care packages right now to them because everything is going to help.
We just want to make sure that other people see it. Other people do whatever they can to assist with it, and more people get involved. The better it is, the more outreach it is, the better it is for everyone. More money we raise, help India.
Our country need equipments. oxygen concentrator, masks, they need this supply, that's what ventilators. So we are trying to arrange these one as much as we can do it, and all these organizations, they are working hard and they are sending it.
अपने लेवल पे जो भी हम कर सकते हैं, सेवा कर सकते हैं, जैसे भी कर सकते हैं, खाना भेजना है, या हमें पैसे भेजने हैं, या ऑक्सीजन कंसंट्रेटर भेजने हैं, पीपीई भेजना है, कुछ भी, या अगर हम कुछ नहीं कर सकते तो हम ऊपर वाले को दुआ कर सकते हैं, हम मांग सकते हैं ऊपर वाले से कि भाई हिंदुस्तान में, हमारे हिंदुस्तान में खुशहाली हो और जो ये बीमारी आई है ये दूर हो.
This is our adopted land, but that's our motherland where people are suffering.
So like I said earlier also, my salute, my gratitude and my regards to everyone who is praying or helping or at least trying to help people in India at this time. Humanity needs help.
Medicine से भी ज़्यादा कभी-कभी जो prayers हैं वो help करती हैं. अभी ये देखिए मेरी family में 15 लोग से भी ज़्यादा बीमार हैं, पॉजिटिव हैं, और साथ में 2 डेथ लास्ट वीक में हुई हैं. लेकिन मजबूरी है कि ना तो हम वहाँ जा सकते हैं और ना कुछ कर सकते हैं, लेकिन हम कलेक्टिवली ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस जो हम इकट्ठा करके जो हम मटेरियल और सप्लाईज भेज रहे हैं वो कर सकते हैं, लेकिन जब घर पहुँचते हैं तो सिर्फ प्रेयर कर सकते हैं.
प्लीज़ हेल्प फॉर आवर इंडियन फैमिली एंड फ्रेंड. थैंक यू.
At Indo-American Community Voice is taking the baby step. It started recently. We are collecting money to set up a oxygen plant at Bangalore. We need money, so whatever the money you can give, it is going to go for the good cause. Here is the account, Indo-American Community Voice, JAL account, 516-965-2931. Once again, open your heart, open your wallet. Please help the people. Please help the mankind.
In this week with Padma Shri Dr. Sudhir Parikh, we have analytical look on India's fight against COVID-19. Namaskar, welcome to this week with Padma Shri Dr. Sudhir Parikh. Doctor, welcome. Namaste.
Namaskar. Namaskar.
So as we speak, there are some silver linings on the horizon. Number of cases declining. We begin with focus on Covid crisis first. So how do you see in terms of the improvement and measures that are taken so far?
Well, I think now it's getting settled down, the crisis. Cases are going down, the infection rate is going down, number of deaths are going down. So it's a good sign. I think after 2-3 weeks of little chaotic arrangement or management of COVID, I think now hospitals are, government is kind of having a good control or hands on or handle on the whole the crisis. So that is a great and good sign.
Absolutely. And continuing with focus on COVID related issues. Recently, there were some posters in Delhi which said, "Hamare bachon ki vaccine videsh kyun bhej di?" And then there were some arrests also. How do you see these kind of developments where there is a conscious attempt to malign the functioning of the government?
Well, I mean, in this kind of crisis, this kind of criticism is not really desirable, but it is fact that vaccine we did send out, but that's the past. So it's all done. So we don't have to keep dwelling on the past, or even if it is a government's mistake or not mistake but misjudgment. Government, I mean, we should not go back to that. And so it's not maligning. I think that's the wrong word. It's a fact, but the fact which was inadvertently done, and so it should not be repeated. No?
So when
with
I
the
say
good
malign,
intention, it was done.
yeah.
So
when I say malign, this is how government probably interpreted it, and because these kind of posters at several places which are not based on facts. And now let me quote the statement by Serum Institute of India CEO Adar Poonawalla. He said, "We would like to reiterate that we have never exported vaccines at the cost of the people in India and remain committed to do everything we can in the support of the vaccination drive in the country." So that is his statement. And of course, he has worked in coordination with government. But now, moving forward, the way things are in terms of relationship with different states, and there has to be a national health policy or some sort of a better way to address these issues. I'll seek your comment on that first, and then there's another controversy which has erupted in India related to one toolkit. You might not be aware about this, but in terms of your views on better coordination between center and state.
I think in the pandemic, in this kind of health crisis, which is really nationwide, so in this kind of health crisis, I think central government should coordinate, should purchase all the vaccine from the vaccine maker and allocate to the different state depending upon their requirement. And I think that so has to be coordinated by center to the state between pharmaceutical company and the state, because it is very difficult if state has to go and different state has to put the bid in different way. That creates more chaos, because we have to make sure that first maximum number of people should get vaccinated, whether even they vaccinated with the one dose, almost you can guarantee 65% of the immunity. So I think I agree. I mean, I hope that central government takes command on this thing, because they have more resources, they have more way of doing it, and they have more way to dictate the state how they are going to get the vaccine, rather than going to and fro and play politics between state and center.
Absolutely. So, beyond politics, to serve people is of prime importance. And just to share with you, in the context of what we just discussed, after the first wave of COVID 19, there were voices from several state governments as well as some senior journalists in India that state, because they hold health portfolio or they have the control of managing health, so they should be given more authority, and center should sort of not keep it control on
No,
its.
I think that's not. I don't agree on that personally, because look at the USA. Everything is controlled by federal government. No state is allowed to buy directly from any pharma company. That way, you can see that how smooth during pandemic we did administration did a lot of mistakes last year, but after the vaccination started, I think it went so smooth in next last 3 to 4 months that all, I mean, now we are kind of dumping our mask in the public. So that shows that this kind of pandemic, I mean, whether health is a subject of the state or center, that's beside the point for in pandemic. Because they need the vaccine, and government and federal government or central government has a whole authority or has or ability to ask the vaccine manufacturer to ramp it up the vaccine, speed it up the vaccine, and all sorts of things. So I think another thing what central government should have done in our India, because we got caught off guard in the second wave, they should have put some orders for outside vaccine from the Pfizer or from the Moderna or those people. That way, at least they have kind of emergency quota, because we have our population is so large. The way we are doing right now, the speed with what we are vaccinating right now, it will take 3 years to vaccinate whole everybody. So 3 years is too long time. Between that, there will be a couple of more surge of the COVID, and that will lose a lot of life in that. And so I think it should not happen.
Absolutely. And in this context, as in America, we saw top leaders taking vaccine, sharing that on social media. In India also, we had Prime Minister Modi shared him getting vaccinated. But there were some opposition leaders at the time when the vaccination process was about to begin who were criticizing some, referring to it as BJP vaccine, and some leaders who are still prominent leaders.
Yep.
They said that
Yep.
this may lead people become impotent, etc. So
Yeah,
that
I
kind of
understand all these things, but the leaders should take the vaccine and show their leadership that vaccine is safe and effective, and everybody else should take it. So that way, I would congratulate Narendra Bhai Modi and whole team. But again, central government should have enough dosage because it's easy to calculate. And when in September we could have, or October when the vaccine came out, or December, they should have started that was should be the that was vaccination should be the first priority. And by now they could have done almost 30-40% of the population, but it never happened. So I think that's the problem, and and because we kind of categorize the people that first only these people can get, and this group get, that group get, and that created, and unfortunately we got the mutant virus, which is more affecting the young people than older people. And as you can see, even this mutant virus, all the people, those who had a vaccination, even though they got infection, but they never got very sick, or they never hospitalized. So that shows that early vaccination was very important. And whatever happened. Let's move forward. And right now, central government, rather than going into the who buys the vaccine and who doesn't buy the vaccine, they should buy the vaccine, and then they can allocate to the state. Even they can charge the state for that. But only one authority should get the vaccine. Then we can get this number of millions of dosage of vaccine.
I think what you say makes a lot of sense, and I hope somebody hears you and probably resonates with your thinking, and things are streamlined in a different fashion. But I also want to bring to your attention the idea which was floated by Union Minister Nitin Gadkari at one of the forum, and he said that there should be a global policy to allow more pharma companies to manufacture vaccine and other life-saving drugs in case of any health crisis. And he says that they may charge 10% loyalty to by the original patent holder of the vaccine. So this sounds like a logical idea in terms of looking at the world as a whole. Your response to this
Well,
suggestion?
it's a good idea. It's a very logical idea, but it's not practical idea.
Why?
because pharma company, because I'm in the pharmaceutical kind of research business. I mean, our practice does a lot of research on a lot of drugs, particularly in the asthma related drugs. And we know that unless the pharma company has enough financial incentive, they will not do that new research. And if you don't do new research, you will not get new vaccine. And the classic example is Moderna and Pfizer. Vaccine is completely new way of making the vaccine, not old way, not like what COVID, the vaccine we have in India, or Oxford vaccine, where it's an old method of the making the vaccine. So, and as you can see that Moderna and Pfizer vaccine is almost 95% effective, and less side effect and so forth. So I think no, the patent. I don't think we hope that there should be a global thing, but it never going to work that way, because every country will take care of their own country's business and the people. So that's the fact of the life, and we have to accept that fact of the life. In theory, yes, what Mr. Gadkari says is very good. I personally also wish that it can happen, but practically speaking, it won't happen. And even Biden says that, okay, we are in favor of lifting the patent kind of patent version of the making vaccine. But even if they say lift that patent today, it takes another year or two before India or South Africa or anyone can make a vaccine. So it's not that easy process that, okay, you lift today and they will get vaccine tomorrow.
So I think that's pragmatic side of this idea, which sounds ideal. And it also tells us that our world is, whether we accept it or not, is run by commercial interests also, and they sometimes supersede the other sensitive and humanitarian aspects of any important decision making. And now, Dr. As we conclude, I want to bring to your attention that there are challenges after challenges sometime in the series, and as we speak, India is facing, especially your state Gujarat is hit by cyclone which is named Tauktae, Tauktae, as the paper writes, and this has also created a lot of disruption, and Prime Minister is also likely to visit. Do you know anything about this cyclone, and it may require some additional attention gradually?
Well, I mean, this is a very horrible cyclone. There's a lot of damages are done along the way in the Kerala, in the Maharashtra, Goa, and Gujarat. And in the Gujarat this morning only, I was talking in the Gujarat, and they had a wind of 165 degree, which is hurricane wind, hurricane 4 or 5. So I mean that is very devastating wind to uproot trees and uproot houses and all sorts of things and kill the people. So I think it's very bad, very damaging, and I'm sure government is doing very good. Government's response is very good, very quick, and very kind of proactive. And therefore, we should congratulate government of Prime Minister Modi for their proactiveness of the dealing with this cyclone. And there are lobby who believes in this earth warming. They claim or they blame this kind of big cyclones on world warming, and therefore they want to do kind of all the countries should take part and take a responsibility to minimize earth warming as much as possible.
Absolutely. So, looking at the time, I want to appreciate your insightful, valuable contribution and sharing, Dr. Parikh, your parting words from today's show.
Well, dear friends, thank you for joining us this week. It was really very, very important, and still I can repeat my message to all of you that please call your friends, family back home, and even here, those who are not vaccinated should get vaccinated. Vaccine is very safe, very effective, and that's only way to conquer the COVID virus. So please do so. Thank you. We'll see you again next week, same time. And goodbye. God bless America. God bless India. And God bless all Indian American community. Goodbye.
Sam Joshi is a young Indian American, and he's also mayoral candidate in Edison. He talked to Aditi Lamba, and among many of issues that he's focusing on, one also relates to background check and stringent background check before letting anybody have a gun in his or her possession. Here are some highlights from that conversation.
My first question to you has to be, you have been serving as a councilman for a while. Especially last year, you saw what happened in Edison and in New Jersey and in the rest of the world. What have been some of the repercussions of COVID-19 on the Edison community? Where do you think this community is struggling the most right now?
So the pandemic has fundamentally changed our economy as we know it, and not just our economy, our education system, but how we are as a society. Everything that we do has fast forwarded a couple decades. And as you can see right now, we're doing this virtual interview. We found that the pandemic has changed our economy because everything is now internet-based. Everything is, and that includes the education system. You know, schools are overcrowded, but at the same time, students are being forced to learn from from home at times. It's the economy has changed because retail businesses are now learning that they don't need to have as much of a large retail footprint. They're more tailored towards how they can provide transportation and how they can invest in other revenue sources that are tailored around technology rather than someone physically going somewhere.
Right. And just talking about the economy, Councilman, I have to ask you, small businesses, which are the heart of the economy, especially in a township like Edison, play a huge role in contributing back. They're facing so many things right now. They've been facing issues since last year. How are you going to tackle that? And how much are you going to invest into these small businesses?
So fortunately, my running mates have been at the forefront of assisting businesses, and they're going to continue to do so. There's a lot more work that needs to be done. Restaurants, as we know, have had a huge hit in the past year and a half. And what we're trying to do is make sure that the COVID relief funds from the Biden package get allocated specifically to these small businesses, as well as making up for revenue loss within the township. This way it doesn't impact, we don't need to have a greater tax source from our taxpayers. So we're actively working with our state legislators and our federal legislators to make sure that the COVID relief funds reach not just the municipality to alleviate any tax revenue loss, but also for businesses as well through grants.
Right. And how much help is kind of needed right now from the state level as well as federal level for this township?
It's the full impact of it is yet to be determined, but we are estimating an approximate $7 million of a loss.
Wow.
But like I said, the COVID relief funds should be able to offset the overwhelming majority of that loss in terms of tax ratables that may potentially have been lost.
Right, and just talking about taxes, we are talking about the state of New Jersey, often criticized for having really high taxes. My question to you is, how are you going to tackle that in the Edison community, and would you bring taxes down? That's the major question.
So I'm running on my record that I'm very proud of, and I understand that New Jersey is one of the highest, or is the highest in property taxes throughout the whole country. I recognize this, but I'm running on a record that I'm very proud of. I have voted against tax increases in the past, especially during the pandemic, and I understand the hardship the families are going through. I know how to balance a budget, and I look forward to serving as mayor to be able to bring clean ratables in town, as well as efficient government that would reduce our overhead costs, especially by investing in technology, which would naturally be able to, over the course of 3-4 years, reduce the amount of overhead that we have, especially by cutting the amount of red tape and the usage of employees who would otherwise, a computer can make up for and supplement the work of employees as well.
Right. Councilman, now I want to talk to you about a very important issue that's been concerning Asians and South Asians across the country, the rise in the anti-Asian hate. We've heard of crimes across the country. We are hearing of, words that are being placed on the Asian community. My question to you is, how much of the South Asian community do you think is impacted by this anti-Asian hate? And if so, what will you do to combat that, at least in the township?
Look, the rise in hate is absolutely deplorable. Edison is one of the most diverse communities, not just in New Jersey, but in the United States. And I'm proud to say that I was born and raised in Edison my whole life. I'm a thoroughbred Edisonite, you can say. And I take a lot of pride in the fact that I have friends of all races, religions, and ethnicities. That's just the way that I grew up. We didn't view race, religion, or ethnicity first when growing up. We looked just at who the person was for what they are and their moral character. That's what I think makes Edison so special. But like I said, it's deplorable. And I'm glad you asked this question, because we can't ignore the fact that there's a huge difference between myself and my opponent, which is the master at weaponizing hatred. He did this when he was he's been labeled as the mastermind behind the 2017 racist flyer. But he also, if you look at his messaging and his running mates from the top of the ticket to the bottom, they tend to weaponize hatred, and they know what to say to incite people and make them feel uncomfortable. And that's really what their message is in trying to get people out to vote. And I'm just completely opposed to that.
When you're looking at the law enforcement and you're looking at the officers, I have to ask you, do you believe they're being held accountable for their actions? Because the huge fight in the country right now is the fact that police officers are not being held accountable. So what's your take on this?
So we have, like I said, we've made a lot of strides in our police department, and I am proud of those changes that have been made over the course of the last 2 decades, actually. There was a lot of reform that went into our police department. I completely acknowledge that we were far from perfect in the past. But the new mechanisms that we have, the new use of force policy, the new de-escalation techniques, especially the ones that came from the Attorney General's office most recently, those are plans that, we're leading on the front. We are leading on the front, not just in New Jersey, but throughout the country with our policies, and we've shown it to be effective.
Right. We are coming towards the close end of this interview. I have 2 more questions left for you. The first one is, if you were elected as the mayor councilman, what would be on your first 100 days agenda? What are you going to prioritize? What needs the most attention according to you?
When I put on a first 100 days vision, it's at samjoshi.com. You can click on it. You can check it out, what I'm going to be doing with my first 100 days. And there's so much work that needs to be done throughout the township that I would not be able to fit it in one mailer, one flyer, one Facebook post. And so I plan to directly tackle property taxes. I plan to embrace technology, making sure our feasibility study gets done for municipal broadband, addressing the overcrowding crisis. Those are things that I immediately plan to work on, and I plan to have a strong administration that works directly with my running mates, including Governor Murphy, to make sure that we're able to maximize the amount of money that we're getting for Edison to be able to do these projects.
Right. Could you discuss some of those projects that you have coming up?
The most important thing is addressing our school overcrowding crisis. The reality is that we need a new school, and we should not be paying the high dollars for it. And my plan is through implementing a pilot program, which is a payment in lieu of taxes to be able to generate commercial revenue. And we'd be able to build a new high school with no impact to taxpayers. This is not new. This is not a novel idea. Woodbridge Township did this successfully. Woodbridge Township, and I believe it was also Carteret that did this successfully. We've had new schools being built with zero tax impact, and it's all about working with municipal government and Board of Education hand in hand, and that's exactly what I'm going to be doing when I roll up my sleeves within my first 100 days as mayor.
My last question to you is kind of personal, and again deals with the community. You are very, very young. And, as you discussed, you have been in this field of politics since the age of 14, so you exactly know what you wanted. There has been a huge push on the community to get more engaged in their civil duties, to have positions in public service. So I'd like for you to address the youth of our community and give them some advice as to what they should do. And perhaps they can get some inspiration from you that way.
Sure. So I am the youngest candidate. I'm 31 years old, and I'm proud of that, but I'm also the most experienced candidate overwhelmingly. I've served 2 years on 2 years as council vice president, 3.5 years on the council, which is 1 out of 7 council members. And I've served 2 years on the zoning board, 4 years on the Fair Rental Housing Authority. And even before that, I worked in the police department as dispatcher in Central Command, proudly, for slightly more than a year. And before that, I was always working with every mayor since, whether it's in an internship position or directly just working with them on policy. So I've been in the political governmental realm for 17 years now. And make no mistake about it, this is exactly what I wanted to do. I want to make a difference in Edison Township. I'm very proud of this town. I love this town. And I've actually launched, one of my first campaign promises was to launch the Edison Youth Service Corps, which I successfully did. I had 156 interns throughout, myself being a council member. It's a summer program that we've launched, like I said, 156. And the goal of that was to inspire the youth for government positions, because most of the times, especially within the Asian community, the parents will say you should be a doctor, lawyer, engineer, architect, and there's only a handful of jobs, not realizing or not knowing that there are amazing, amazing opportunities for work elsewhere as well. And I wanted to show that if you were an aspiring architect, you can be placed in the township planning department. You can, with engineering, and you can work side by side with so many different departments right here in Town Hall. My program, out of the 156, I always did a survey before and afterwards. And before the students joined my program, it was less than 20% wanted to have some sort of a government position or government role. After my program every summer, more than 70% of them have said that they were actively pursuing a government policy-related field. My goal is to inspire the youth, and I plan to do that even more as mayor than I already have.
You're watching Vision of Asia, Voice of Community on ITV Gold, and this is the program that you wait for every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays at 8 p.m. And special weekly edition of Vision of Asia is presented every Sunday at 11 a.m. We appreciate your continued encouragement and support. Your love is our strength. Stay with us. We'll be right back after these short messages. Dr. Anupama Gotimukula is President-elect of AAPI, and she's also closely monitoring the situation in India with respect to overcoming the challenge posed by COVID-19. So far, based on her reports at the time of recording of this conversation, she was concerned about India having overpassed 25 million coronavirus cases. Here are some highlights from conversation with Dr. Anupama.
There is a lot I would like to discuss with you on India and COVID, but also on AAPI's efforts. So let's go right into it. Doctor, when you're looking at India and what's happening there right now, the devastation we have seen, the pictures and the videos that have come across the world on it, do you think and believe that India as a country opened up way too fast?
It's a tough question to answer. There is a reason why they had to open up quickly, because the cases went down so low. So but I would say that it is very quick to open up to the public events. Yes, definitely yes.
Definitely. And then when we're looking at it, Doctor, the government or people allowed for something like a Kumbh Mela to happen in India, which gathered millions of people. There were election rallies that had thousands and thousands of people. There was variant spreading as well across the country. Did you and other medical healthcare workers predict this? Did you see this coming?
So the way the India was doing really well, it was very, very low number of cases. Right. There were not many mutants at that time. And I think it went very fast. And these events were all planned, which were not supposed to happen. Just not only the rallies, it's like weddings and parties, and there's multiple religious events going on, and so a lot are going on because the COVID was very, very low. But unfortunately, none of them realized that we are very low in vaccination rate. So, and the mutant strain, which is very new, which is like a double and triple mutant strains, 2 strains, which are the ones which were like almost like 100 times infectious than the first original, the strain. So it was like within just few days, like 1 week, we were watching it, being in United States, we were watching it. Like every day the numbers were like tripling and 10 times and 100 times. So when we saw that rate of cases, reported cases from 20,000 to 200,000, then AAPI, we thought this is not the way it should go. Like this is something wrong going on. And they were already like the rallies happened that week and everything what not to happen has happened. So unfortunately, we were not prepared for any disaster in India to face any kind of that. I know experts know that it should not happen, but it did happen. So now we are in this situation that we are facing this disaster now without having a disaster plan and preparation. And so when we saw those cases going from 20,000 to 200,000, then we realized that there's something going wrong. We should help India right now, ASAP. So that's how we said, like, okay, let's start something. They cannot face the disaster, so we have to help them right on the first day itself. We jumped in and started this fundraiser. So AAPI was the first organization which started the fundraiser for this disaster, to send the supplies, help, and whatever help we need, professional services. So that was where we tried to contact the Indian embassy right away. And we said, what can we do? What can we do to India? They said, not yet. We did not get any instructions yet. So we had to wait another 3-4 days. And so because India was not even ready to take help from other countries at that moment, it was like a shock-like state, I guess. So they were not ready. And then we were the first ones to jump in, called our embassy and in DC. And so interestingly, one organization, which is a non-profit organization in the United States, which is Seva International, they came and they just said, like, okay, so the need was oxygen at that moment. So oxygen was depleted completely, like people were dying with lack of oxygen. So then we thought, okay, this is what we should do. Let's send the concentrators now. So that's where we jumped in and we sent the first 1,000 in the first week of May. So and now as the situation is evolving, now the needs are growing and differing. Like now they need concentrators, they need ventilators, they need oxygen plants, and they need medical professional help and supplies, PPEs. So the need is growing.
Right. Are you is AAPI itself working with the Indian government, doctor?
So we started this. So we want to help with our doctors in India who want to serve India. So we thought we will do these telehealth services to India. But we came to know from our experts and our physicians that does Indian government give us some kind of medical legal liability coverage? And not all physicians are licensed to practice in India. We left India 20, 30, 40 years ago. So we had those original registrations which were there. So they are not active now. So we sent letters to our health minister, Harshavardhan ji, and so we haven't received any reply back yet, but still we want to help whatever way we can. So a lot of telehealth platforms came forward and they have global liability insurance coverage. So the few of them I know, and so our physicians signed up to those telehealth platforms. Now we have like 5, 6, 7, 8. Every day we keep hearing a new platform we want to help. So there's a lot of help coming from these telehealth platforms. And AAPI is also working. AAPI is a force of physicians, right? We are all physicians. We have experts from different specialties. So we can give our expertise to India right now. So our physicians are very enthusiastic and very much motivated to help India with whatever specialty need they need. So we want the COVID to be managed at home before anyone goes to the hospital, so we don't have to waste those oxygen supplies. And further, the hospitals are full already. So our physicians, we made a few WhatsApp groups where Indian physicians join, and so they are asking help and opinion, or any help they need, professional help, they are getting right away. And the other thing, the platforms are eglobaldoctors.com, which is working with the Indian government with a telehealth platform. We are waiting for a few more days to happen. Probably it may happen too. So with that, the principal scientific advisor, we have have a bunch of Zoom meetings with eglobalDoctors.com founders and principal scientific advisors of the Indian Health and Stanford University Global Outreach Program professor and AAPI. So all four of us have done a couple of meetings and we are discussing how we can do that. So hopefully by this week, maybe we will be able to render our services without any much further delays.
Acharya Shankar's birth anniversary was observed last week, and here we have a special report where Swami Nityananda talks about Acharya Shankar, and we also have a special musical tale describing some of the life events of Acharya Shankar.
विश्वमूल से स्पंदिता हो घन महामौन ने जन्म लिया था शंकर ने अवतार लिया था हो घन महामौन ने जन्म लिया था शंकर ने अवतार लिया था
birthday on the bright side of the moon, the 5th day of this month of Vaishakha. We celebrate his birthday. All of us are grateful to him for all the work he did in a very short lifespan of 32 years. For those of us who follow the tradition of sannyasa, especially the Dasnam order, we are grateful for all of the teachings that continue today. These two we just sang, Bhajagovindam and Nirvanchatakam, are very simple for even an ordinary mind to understand. In one of his shlokas, he says, Shlokardena pravakshami yaduktam ganta kotibihi Brahma Satyam Jagan Mitya Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. In half a verse, I give what thousands of books, scriptures say. There is only one truth, the absolute consciousness, Brahman. All of this that we see is unreal, is transitory, is passing. For example, here in India right now, especially here in Gujarat, it's a month of May. It should normally be hot, 35 degrees Celsius, 100 degrees Fahrenheit. But we are experiencing rain because of the cyclone that will come through here tonight. Supposed to have lots of wind. Mangoes that we all been expecting since last May or June to experience and taste them are falling because of the wind and the rain. So when I think of this word, transitory, illusion, mithya, you realize that whatever we've dreamed of for the last 11 months, it's become unreal because the mangoes have fallen. What will happen to them? Maybe we'll have pickle, maybe we'll have mango juice, but that particular flavor in the mind is transitory, is illusory. Brahma Satyam, Jagan Mitya, Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. This individual, that is each and every one of us, is nothing other than that absolute consciousness, and that is the experience that Nirvanchatakam Chidananda Rupaha Shivoham Shivoham gives to us, reminds us that I am consciousness, I am bliss, I am Shiva, I am Shiva. So today we celebrate the birthday of Bhagavad Jagadguru Adi Shankaracharya.
And now time to say goodbye from today's Vision of Asia, but let's have this moment to recollect that we that is ITV Gold. Have a very vibrant and dynamic Facebook page. Be friends with us there. Subscribe to ITV Gold's YouTube channel and keep writing events@itvgold.com. Appreciate your support and encouragement. Take care. This is Ashok Vyas. Namaste.